Goals have the option of being set as an array of values rather than as a single goal amount. This array can be either by location or date or both. To demonstrate, I'll create a goal, call it location dimension demo, and under dimension I will select location, and then I'll select the locations I want. And if we come down here, we now see that there is an input for each location rather than a single goal amount. So I'll go input a goal amount for each location, and there's a total row at the bottom. And the date range, I'll select the current month. Now let's look at the reports. Now we see that each location has its own row with all the various columns. There's also a total row where the values are totaled across every location. There's also the option to view a selection of locations rather than all of them. So I could uncheck this location here, and it remakes the report without that location. And the total row only includes these two locations now. The daily progress report works basically the same way. We see a column for each location and a total column over here. When computing business days for this all locations column, a day is considered a business day as long as at least one location is open on that day. So for May 9th, this location is open, but these two aren't. So since there's at least one location open, that's considered a business day for the all locations column. Now let's create a goal with a date dimension. So I'll call this date dimension demo, and under dimension I'll select by date, select our locations. So now if we come down here, we see that the goal amount title is a date, and if I expand the date range, you can see it adds a new goal amount for each date. In this case, I think I'll select a 6-month date range from January to June, and now I'll input a goal amount in each of these and click save. And now if we look at the report, we see that like the location goal, the report shows a list of rows, but now each is filled with a date rather than a location. The locations are listed up here, and the progress in each row includes the total sales across all 3 locations for each month. There are some differences in how past, present, and future months are displayed. Months in the past have no to-date values. They will have and this column will have a non-italicized date, indicating that the goal was reached on that date, or if the goal was not reached, it will say goal missed. 2 date columns are only filled in for the present month. Future goals have no date progress or variance values. As with locations, there is a total row at the bottom. The total row also has 2 date values that show data for the entire date range. And there's also options to narrow the date range up here. So I could select just to view January to April. In the daily progress report, the date dimension goal still shows as one big long list of days. Each month, it divides the goal for that month by the number of business days for that month. There are 25 business days in January, and 1,000 over 25 is 40. So the cumulative goal starts at 40, then increases by 40 until it reaches 1,000 at the last business day in January. Then it takes the goal amount for February, which is also 1,000, but divides it by the number of business days in February. There are only 23 business days in February, and 1,000 over 23 is 43.48. So it adds 43.48 every day in February until by the end it reaches another 1,000 for a total of 2,000. And then it does the same thing for each month until all the way at the bottom, it reaches the total goal amount of 6,000. Lastly, we can set a goal by both location and date. So location and date. Demo, and select by location and date. And I'll select 3 locations, and I'll select a 3-month date range. And so if we come down here, we see that there is this 3x3 array of goals to set. So I'll set these goal values. And there's also total values that sum the total in each row and each column, and then a grand total in the bottom right corner that sums everything. So now let's take a look at the reports. The main report works essentially the same as before, except now it has 2 dimensions. Dates run along one edge and locations along the other. There are totals along each edge, here and here, and then a grand total in the bottom right corner. In the daily progress report, we have a column for each location and a total column over here. In each column, it works like a date dimension goal for that location. The goal for downtown in April was 500, and there are 26 business days for downtown in April, so it takes 500 over 26, which is 19.23, and then increments April days until it reaches 500. And then it does the same thing for May, increments May until it gets down to um, this, which is the goal for May was 525, so 500 plus 525 is 1,025, and then it does the same thing for the other locations. So on east side, the goal for April was 400, so which is 400 right there at the end of April, and then May was 425, so which is 400 plus 425, which is 825 at the end of May. And finally, if we just take a look at the old report, note that this only does things by location, not by date. If there is a date dimension, then the goal amount will just sum the goals for all dates at that location and use that.